Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so very much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We extend a very warm welcome to the Sustainable Tourism and Hospitality Unit. And this is a department that is very unique, very dynamic, and we would like to get an opportunity, and we're grateful for the opportunity this afternoon to tell you all about it. Joining me to share in this presentation is Mr. Elon Thomas. He's one of our lecturers that's responsible for bar operations and dining room operations. He is also handling all the excellent quality service, customer service that our students are known for. So while I'm doing the presentation, there will be a point where he will come in and join us. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And I will go through and give you as much details about our unit as I possibly can. So the question is, why join? Why be part of our family? And tourism is our #1 industry. It is the industry that we rely on most for our economy. And so therefore, we try as best as possible to keep up with trends. Tourism, as you know, has taken a little bit of a hit right now because of the COVID, but it doesn't mean that we don't have to get trained and ready so that when we're opening up again and the tourists start flowing and the international tourists open their borders to allow persons to come to St. Lucia, that we will not be ready and able to pick back up where we left off and maybe build on what is existing. Tourism is an industry where every day changes. There's always something new. It is one job that you are not going to find boring whatsoever. It is in terms of the job, there's always a different personality that you come into contact with. There's always a different issue that you're dealing with. And so it is a dynamic job that's never boring, that's never repetitive. And there's always something new to learn, to explore about yourself and about the establishment for which you work. In our unit, we have hands-on training. It is not entirely an academic process. There are a number of courses that are practical in nature, and we're going to be discussing what these courses are like. But it is very, very much hands-on. You learn to do a lot of things in terms of developing skills, and you will get to learn, as I say, a little bit more about it. We have an internship program, and our internship program has generally been very successful. A number of students go on internship and they perform very well. And as a result, they are asked to stay on because of their excellent performance. So you go in with a basic skill that we teach you. You go into the industry for 3 months. You learn how the specific establishment that you're working with, how they do things unique to their business. And then once you are able to shine in terms of attitude, in terms of performance, in terms of skill, there is excellent opportunity for employment. So it's one of the units here that's definitely job ready. We have specific links to universities, which we call 2+2 or 2+1, 2+3. So in other words, we have links to universities such as the University of the West Indies, where you can further your studies in either hotel management or tourism studies, and you go straight into year 2 rather than starting in year 1 when you have completed our program. We have an arrangement with a university out of Switzerland, where after you complete your 2 years of an associate degree here, you do it within 1 year there, and you have a degree from them in either culinary arts, food and beverage, or tourism. We have arrangements with Johnson & Wales, for example, in Florida, where you have an opportunity to get credits of your existing. So instead of doing the entire amount of time, it actually cuts down on less courses for you to do. And that's only 3 of the institutions that I can refer to, but there are others. We have great opportunities in our unit, and we have opportunities for you to travel the world, for you to be able to work on a cruise ship, for you to get scholarships to work all over the world. So I come back to the point about it being dynamic in the sense that it's never boring. There are always a number of doors opening. But I would like to add, before I go on any further, personality and attitude makes a big difference in our unit. It is very important that you understand what quality customer care is, because the tourism industry is about service. And so we have to have people in our unit who want to be of service, who like people, and who want to work to provide excellent service representing the industry or the establishment in which they work. And so professionalism, the way you carry yourself, the way you look in your uniform, how respectful you are to others. We do a lot of work with regards to that, but that is an important element for us, because we don't want to send students out into the industry, especially with internship, who are not very courteous and professional in their manner. And that is very, very important to us. So this basically is my little introduction about the unit. And so now we're going to go into what programs we offer. So in the Sustainable Tourism and Hospitality unit, we offer 4 programs. And I will go into them in some detail along with the assistance of Mr. Thomas as well. So we have the food and beverage operations, and I will just give you a little snapshot of that, and then we will go into some more details in terms of the courses that they're offering. If you are trying to pick a career, the food and beverage operations program is ideal for persons who actually want to work within a restaurant or eating establishment. It is not necessarily being able to cook, although there are a number of times you spend a lot of time learning to cook in that program, but it also exposes you to other operations in a restaurant. So you can, it exposes you to service in terms of dining room service. It exposes you to bar operations, so you can do a little bit of mixology. It exposes you to menu planning. It also exposes you to purchasing and materials and inventory and costing. This is an area where we look at preparation for food and beverage operations within an establishment. So if you're not sure that you actually want to be a cook, but you really like to cook, but you're interested in a little bit of cooking and a little bit of service, then perhaps that would be the program for you. The other one here we have up on the screen is Accommodations and Hospitality. And for that program, it gets you ready to work primarily in a hotel and to some extent at an attraction. With Accommodations and Hospitality, you learn all about the operations of a hotel. That's the emphasis. So you learn how to work at a front desk in terms of reservations, check-in, check-out. You learn how to do customer service. You learn concierge, which is about organizing trips and bookings for persons. You learn about housekeeping, and you also learn about the food and beverage operations. So that is one of our broadest programs. So if you're not entirely sure, you know you want to get into the tourism industry, and you're not entirely sure that this area, you don't want to specialize at this point, you want to be as broad as possible to be able to fit into any area, then that is the program you may want to consider doing. The third one we have is Tourism Studies and Sustainability. This program is geared towards looking at the management of the tourism industry as a destination. And so here you're going to look at things in terms of how to develop the tourism industry. How is policy affecting the development process? How is planning affecting it? You look at the economics of the nation and where tourism will fit into that. You look at the statistical performances. Having said that, I would like to add that you also look a little bit about how to operate in a hotel, how to cook. Cooking is an important component there, but the emphasis here is on studying the tourism industry for a destination and not necessarily specific to working to an establishment or business. The last one, which is our newest one, is Culinary Arts. Culinary Arts is for persons who actually want to become a cook and later on to qualify to become a chef. And so the emphasis here is primarily on cooking. So you spend a lot of your time standing, cooking, and you learn a lot of skills from there. So those persons here who have a great passion for cooking and want to actually one day become a chef, this is a very good place to start off. In the background for Mr. Thomas is actually one of our kitchens, and you can see our chefs and students moving up and down. And so that is one of our kitchens that we have here. And that is the home of the culinary students. They primarily use that kitchen and learn some of their skills within there. So Mr. Thomas has chosen to be in that room so that you get an idea of what's happening. You can see students moving up and down, and you can see the chefs talking to them. So the intention here is not as a distraction, but as an opportunity to see what goes on in the kitchen. And so that is our pastry kitchen, actually. And that is where the culinary students spend most of their time learning their skill. So I'd like to go into some detail about our courses, the programs that I mentioned, and pull out some of the key courses that exist. Now, we were speaking about culinary arts, and I would like to go here a little bit and look at some of the courses. So we look at culinary operations in terms of how to handle a knife, in terms of how to do knife cuts, in terms of how the kitchen operates and functions. So this is the picture that you see here on the screen is actually our other kitchen. And these are culinary, yet 2 students that are there, and they are having preparation for a lunch. And so culinary arts would be one of the courses that you would be doing that covers just a broad basis of what it is in terms of cooking. There are courses that you specialize in where we have baking 1 and baking 2, and where you learn to do some of the really fancy pastries that are out there, and you learn to make bread. So baking is a lot because there are a lot of different variations in terms of how you can go about baking different things using yeast, not using yeast, the different types of flours, and how to use sugar to decorate, how to decorate a cake. All of that comes under baking. We have areas of specialization, which is where you focus entirely on Caribbean cuisine. And right now, this is actually a course that is running. So you look at the cuisine of the different countries within the region, and you learn how to prepare their various dishes. We also look at international cuisine, and that is where you look at the dishes from around the world. So we introduce you to a little bit of Indian, Chinese, Mexican, etc. And you learn a little bit about how their dishes work. Then finally, we have menu planning. So you learn how to prepare a menu. You learn how to cost a menu, and you do a little bit of inventory in terms of purchasing, storage, etc. Then we have food science. So you learn about the science and nutrition aspects of food. And you understand how one food product interacts with another food product. So these are only just a snapshot of some of the courses. There are actually quite a lot of them, but I don't want to take up your entire afternoon talking specifically about one program, but I just want to give you an idea of some of the courses that each of the programs have to offer. Then the next one we have is accommodations. Now, that was the program that I was speaking about that has focusing here a little bit on the operations at a hotel. One of the lecturers here with us is Mrs. Deodata Preville Alfred. And when I finish speak about this, I will ask her to just tell you a little bit more about it, because she's one of the lecturers that teaches this course. She's actually the coordinator of the food and beverage program, but she's able to teach a wide range of courses available across all of our programs. So I've asked her today to come in to speak to you about the nitty-gritties a little bit more about this course, this program. So I will just briefly explain that we have accommodations, which I had spoken about earlier on, where you look primarily at the hotel operations. You do a little bit of the food and beverage preparation and service, which is related to the operations within the kitchen. You look at the resorts and how they impact. You look at how a hotel, the different types of hotels, including resorts, and how it impacts the general society. You look at bar operations, and that is a little bit of mixology. But you also look at things like accounts and law. So it's as I mentioned earlier on, it's a broad area that covers a wide range of skills that you would need to work at any department within a hotel primarily. So I asked Mrs. Deodata Preville Alfred just to say hello and tell you a little bit about it.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Warner. Well, welcome, I would like to say to our prospective students. And those of you who are interested in the Accommodations and Hospitality Studies program, you will primarily be, we'll be primarily be focusing on the accommodations, hotels, any form of accommodations, as a matter of fact. So you'll be focusing on housekeeping, the front office, checking in and checking out guests. We also will be doing food and beverage, culinary, anything to deal with the hotel. Even maintenance we'll be dealing with. So in accommodations, you will be doing areas in terms of how to make a bed, really, really nice or impressive, as you could see in our pictures. How to clean our guest toilets, the tubs. I mean, not just house cleaning as you do at your home, but clean it to a specific standard to assist the guest so the guest could come back. And not just the rooms in a hotel, but in any form of accommodation. So for example, if you are interested in our accommodations and you want to work on a cruise ship, you will know how to care for the rooms, how to do maintenance on that cruise ship, how to do service in terms of food, how to do concierge, and all those areas pertain into the accommodations. So accommodations really has all three parts of tourism. So we have the tourism aspect where we deal with the guest services, we have the rooms and accommodations, and we have the food and beverage, as in the service and the culinary aspects. Accommodations really is, for me, is very interesting, and I think anybody who wants to become a manager within the hotel, whether it be food and beverage, whether it be front office, housekeeping, and it pays good money, by the way, that would be the industry for you. So that's my little bit on the accommodations. I'm not sure if, Miss Warner wants a little more, or if you have any questions, I'm right here. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Prevel Alfred. The questions we will take at the end of the presentation, and you can direct it to any one of us if you like. So we're going to move on to our next one, which is, oh, my thing has frozen. Just a second, please. Right, which is food beverage operations. And so this is the one that I was speaking about that prepares you to work in any kind of eating establishment in terms of all aspects of its operations. So you look at food preparation, you do spend a bit of time cooking within there. You look at service, you do also spend a great deal of time looking at how you deal with customers in a dining room setting. You look at the bar operations, again, that's a little bit of mixology. You look at the inventory purchasing systems, you learn how to plan a menu, and you look at things like accounting as well and other things. Again, that is only a snapshot of what's available. There are far more courses that you would be doing. So I'd like to ask Mr. Thomas here to tell you a little bit more about the operations within the dining room that exist.
All right, thank you, Ms. Warner. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right, so the food and beverage aspect of this department is very vast, and it allows a lot of opportunity to become not just chefs, not just managers, but to become a well-rounded industry veteran. So there is the possibility of you learning to be a chef and then ending up becoming a restaurant manager, a bar manager, and it all goes back again to attitude. Learning all what we have to offer and applying it with the right attitude is the concoction for success. We go in depth when it comes to etiquette for servers. We speak about, we work on on building confidence as well, because you would need confidence in order to work with or to serve people that you do not know. We go in depth of cocktails, how beverages come about from distillation all the way to the finished product into the glass. And like I said, it's well-rounded. There's an ample amount of opportunities coming from just one simple course. I'm not sure if I was clear, Ms. Warner? Or...
No, wonderful. Thank you very much. It's just a snapshot we are basically sharing in terms of what the program is about. So thank you, Mr. Thomas. So the next one that we have is the tourism studies. Here, some of the courses would be tourism policy and planning. So you look at the role of policy in terms of how government sets policy and how it impacts the planning process and how you develop the tourism product into the future. You look a lot here at theories and what type of tourists are attracted and the generating markets and what are some of the characteristics within the destination that they're looking for. You look at how to develop a tourism product, and that is a process where you start from scratch and look at all the regulations and implications of the type of product that you want to look at to develop. You look at accommodation. So here you do a little bit about what Mrs. Prevel Alfred was talking about in terms of the requirements for working at a hotel. So you learn a little bit about that. You look at basic food preparation and service. So even if you're doing tourism, you are still required to do a little bit about the preparation of food. So you do cook and you do serve as well. You have introduction to economics. So economics forms a big part of this, and you have some measure of accounting that goes on there as well. So what are the entry requirements? What do you need to be able to get into the program? So like everything else at the ASA, we have 5 CSEC courses that you're required to pass. For the food and beverage specifically, you will require the maths and the English, and you must have food and nutrition and a foreign language. It can be either French or Spanish. From those listed below, you can have one: principles of business, principles of accounts, economics, social studies, or chemistry, for those of you who like to do a little bit of the science. So I'll repeat that: food and beverage, the operations requires maths, English, food and nutrition, a foreign language, or a business course or social studies course. The tourism studies program is the same 5 with the same English and the mathematics with the same foreign language, so that is consistent, but you do not have to have food and nutrition. You could have any of the 2, which is principles of business, principles of accounts, economics, geography, or social studies. Excuse me, sorry. For accommodations, you are required to have English, maths, the foreign language, food and nutrition, or social studies, although we lean more towards food and nutrition. And one of the following, which would be principles of business, principles of accounts, economics, and or chemistry. So any one of the others would be considered for applicants. For the culinary arts, you are required to have the same 5 CSEC passes with grade 1, 2, or 3. In English, math, food and nutrition is an absolute must, and a foreign language. You can have the 5th course can be in a business course, economics, social studies, or chemistry. But I'd like to explain how you actually get into the culinary program. We have our 4 programs that exist. However, you have to originally apply for a food and beverage program and do the program in the first semester. So your semester 1 will be a food and beverage operations program. From that program, you will be able to be assessed. So there is actually an application process that you have to go through. The reason being is that some persons may feel that they are very skilled at cooking and they have the right attitude. However, they might be very clumsy or they might not be talented. It is a skill. And so the chefs assess you. You actually do cook for that semester, and the chefs assess you based on your performance, based on your attitude, based on your respect level, based on your ability to cut well, based on your ability to cook well. And so you apply in your first semester, you are assessed, you are interviewed, and then you are invited, if selected, you are invited to apply for the culinary program, which will start in your second semester. So let me repeat, if you are interested in actually becoming a cook and specializing in that, you first have to apply for the food and beverage operations program. You will be doing one semester, the first semester in that program. While you are doing that first semester, you will apply to do the culinary arts. You will be assessed while you are doing the culinary related courses. And then upon successful completion, you will be transferred to the culinary arts program. The culinary arts program is exactly the same as the food and beverage program in the first semester. The difference starts from semester 2. So you branch off from culinary arts from food and beverage operations into culinary arts. So what is the structure of our program essentially? It is 2 years of study with 4 semesters. So for you to attain your associate degree, you have to have been with us for 4 semesters. We have an average of 75 credits for the entire program. It varies slightly from program to program, but that is an average of 75 credits. There is a 3-month internship, which usually takes place at the end of the 2-year course. So you are attached to an establishment for 3 months. Usually you would spend the first couple of months going from department to department, depending on which establishment you are doing your internship at. And your last month is spent in the area of specialization that interests you. So if, for example, you are at a hotel, you would spend the first 2 months spending a period of a week or 2 at front desk, housekeeping, water sports, concierge, the various restaurants, cooking, kitchen, everybody does this. And then if, for example, the area that interests you is actually the front desk, you would put in a request with the HR office to work your last month at front desk. We have an average of 6 courses per semester. Our programs overall are very heavy. There are a lot of courses that you are required to do. But one of the reasons it is heavy is because of what I had spoken about earlier on, where when you complete the 2 years with us, you are actually able to go into university, and in some cases skip a year of university, and in other cases skip 2 years of university. Students can take up to 3 foreign languages at Sir Arthur. So you being bilingual or being able to speak more than 2, 3 languages is always an asset in our industry. So you are able to do French, Spanish, and we're now about to introduce Mandarin. So we highly encourage our students to take up as many languages and go in depth as much as possible. You do not have to, but it's something that we highly recommend. You are required to come in with a foreign language, and you are also required to do a foreign language. That is mandatory here. But in addition to that 1 foreign language course, I'm just saying that you have access to 2 others, or you have access to go into greater depth in the language that you choose. All students have to purchase a chef package, which includes the uniform and tools. So I don't think, generally speaking, you have ever gone into a kitchen and not seen persons in full chef uniform in any kitchen. It is standard across the industry. Even travel and tourism students are required to have a chef outfit, because a chef uniform, because once you are in the kitchen, you have to be in your chef uniform. And when you go out on internship, you must come with your chef uniform. Chefs do not share knives, and they do not share other tools that you need, like peelers, etc. And so you are required to purchase the uniform and the tools in addition to tuition fees, etc. Our courses are blended. We have both online and face-to-face. You will appreciate that we cannot teach cooking classes online, because there's no way anybody can judge if your food tastes good by watching you do it on a video. The only way they know if your food tastes good is by tasting it. So we are not able to do any of our culinary courses online. All of these courses have to be done face-to-face. Our bar operation courses have to be done face-to-face as well, because in mixology, and you're making cocktails, we must be able to taste it and make sure that it tastes good and not just looks good. So the difference with our unit primarily is that we are more heavily based in terms of our face-to-face courses. It has been a challenge for us with the COVID, and what we have had to do is compact some of our courses, so you find yourself here doing your face-to-face courses over a period of 2 or 3 weeks every day. And this is the way we have had to do it. It has turned out to be very successful, because we have found that once you do it like that, you learn a skill better if you are able to be there at it every day, and you improve upon that skill a little bit every day. Our courses are also modular in nature, similar to other units in the college. That means that on average, some of our courses will run for 7 weeks at a time. So a semester traditionally will run for 15 weeks, but some of our courses run for 7 weeks. So the first 7 weeks of a semester, you will be doing one course. You will finish that course. It's an intense program. And then you will get a break and take up another set of courses. You do not do 6 courses in 7 weeks at the same time. You will most likely be doing 3 and then 3 or 4, 2. It varies depending on what you are doing. But we do use the modular approach here in our unit. And then, of course, there are other courses that are taught entirely online. The food and beverage classes and all culinary related classes, all food service classes, all mixology classes take place at our La Forte restaurant. La Forte restaurant is a restaurant that is open to the general public with real customers in a real life setting. And you learn while you prepare food for customers. You learn while you service real people, paying for it at like any restaurant. Unlike food and nutrition, and this is a question that comes up a lot for us. I know in the secondary schools, you have to bring your raw materials and cook it for food and nutrition. This does not happen at this level. All the food is provided for you. You prepare this food, being supervised and taught with our chefs, and this food is served to the general public. So it's important that we maintain high standards of preparation at all times. Students attend seminars that prepare them for work in the industry. These seminars usually would have taken place 1 day a week, where we bring in industry personnel to speak about the realities of the industry. I would need to come back where personality, professionalism, and attitude plays a big role for us in terms of the type of student that we want to graduate at the end of the program. And so we bring in industry persons to come in and tell you about why it is important that you carry yourself in a certain way, why it is important for a hotel for you to give excellent service, what is the etiquette that is required when you are dealing with people, both other employees and customers. So this is a seminar that you need to attend on a regular basis, but it is not a course. It is something that just gets you ready and prepared to work in the industry. And the matriculation to universities, I have discussed this already, saying that one of the benefits of coming to our unit is that it eliminates credits and years of in certain establishments. So it makes university easier in a lot of cases and cuts down on the amount of time that you actually spend there. So we also have opportunities to study abroad. We had arrangements with an institution in Martinique where you can go and actually spend some time learning from them. But again, with COVID, and the restrictions in what we can and cannot do, that has not much room, but this is something that we have in the making, which we will bring back. So The uniqueness of our unit is, one, the functioning restaurant where you serve real people, our internships that are for 3 months and gets you ready to be hired at the end of it, the opportunity to go abroad and study a little bit while you are actually doing the associate degree, and our seminar or workshop that prepares you to become more professional and the ideal type of employee that the industry is seeking. So what are some of the jobs that you may want to look for? Under the accommodations and hospitality, you may want to work at front desk, housekeeping, concierge, or you may want to work at managing or managing an attraction, or become a tour guide. Working with some of the cruise ship passengers that you see, you may want to work with them and tell them a little bit about the destination. Culinary, you may want to become a cook, a pastry chef, or a sous chef. Remember here that the Culinary Arts Program is a foundation for you to build on. It is a skill, so it takes a number of years for you to be able to become an executive chef. You have to learn through experience to be an excellent cook, but to become an excellent chef at the end of the day. But we do send you out as a very good cook, and you do have all the skills and tools that you need to become a sous chef. The tourism program allows you to be ready to work at an airline. You can be a check-in agent and you can work with an airline, and that is a foundation for you to consider to become an air hostess. You have to go to school to become an air hostess, but you have the foundation that gives you access. You can work with government in terms of the Ministry of Tourism as a clerk and assist some of the tourism officers that work there. You can also work at a hotel at front desk, or you can work in concierge as a tourism student. For the food and beverage or operations program, you maybe want to become a bartender. You may want to become a maitre d' or hostess. You can become a cook quite easily from that program. You may want to become a purchasing officer. You would be the person to buy all the food and things that a hotel needs. You may want to become a waiter or waitress. You may want to become a caterer and have your own business. You may want to get involved in events management and operate. We also do that course as well. So you may want to be a caterer or handle events management from the food and beverage operations program. So basically, I'd like to conclude here by saying, once again, thank you very much for attending our session today. Applications are open right now to the end of the month. We would like to welcome you if you are considering joining our team, and remind you that this is a unit that is a little different from everybody else. It's very dynamic, it's never boring, and the range of courses that you do are quite distinctive. And so you get an opportunity to learn a range of skills and get an opportunity to work in a range of different places within the tourism industry. So thank you very much for your attention on behalf of Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Prevel Alfred. And I will stop here so that you can get an opportunity to ask questions and interact in any way that you need. Our department, you can write us directly at tourism@apps.salcc.edu, or you can call us at 457-7318 if you want to get any more specific details about our unit.
So Alfred Lewis Community College. Apply today and fast track your career.